How did the Pirate Party change my life? I mean, actually, not much. It's like if we had a free time, we were a bunch of friends who were doing what we could be doing in as fun of a way as possible to change the world. We had that kind of like as our aim and as our free time project, and we worked a lot together to accomplish this. Well, a friend called me and said that there was a new political party that wanted free and open source software in the public sector, and that I should join because there's not so many political parties that have this as kind of like a focus topic. And I said how much it cost, and he said 50 cents, like euro cents or so. But I already sent the SMS that submits your name and your details, and so you don't have to pay anything, you just have to answer yes. Like when the text message comes, go to the web page and fill it in appropriately. And I did. And then I went to one of their meetings, and they were very nice people, and I continued working with them for the coming, well, now 6 years that I'm in the party. Well, yes, I was the second name on the list, so I was running an election campaign, just like all the other candidates on the list were running election campaigns also. I traveled around in Sweden and I spoke with many people. I talked a lot with media during the election campaign. I have a blog which is not currently regularly updated, but that I used to update a great deal. Also used to use Twitter, which I don't so much now. But I'm guessing Twitter and blogging is something that I'll pick up again once I start working in the European Parliament right now. If you look at, like, quite crassly, what happened during the spring, of 2009 in Sweden was that we had a big trial against a torrent tracker. Like 3 people who'd been running a torrent tracker called it the Pirate Bay. They were on trial for copyright infringement in 2009, in the spring, in April. And this created a lot of media attention, this trial. So this had not so much to do with my political party or the fact that we had European elections, but the fact that these individuals were able to absorb a lot of attention. And because they were absorbing lots of attention and were kind of like called the Pirate Bay, you also had the Pirate Party, which is like similarly named, and I think some of the attention from them kind of spilled over on us. And you can see this also really well, the verdict against the Pirate Bay. The first one, which was very, very upsetting and made a lot of people very, very angry, fell on the 17th of April 2009. On the 18th of April 2009, we had jumped from having 0.5% in the opinion polls to having 5.2%. So the Pirate Bay verdict played a very large part in the way that the popularity of my political party during the European election campaigns played out. My political party did a lot of campaigning through blogs, for instance. I know that we had good fortunes with some of our media contacts also. I had good fortunes with some of my media contacts, and there was a YouTube clip that got very popular that had me in it. Otherwise, we had some type of funding also. Like we did have election posters, for instance. All the top 3 candidates, which is me, included, well, I was second, so that included me. We got a very small budget for traveling, like kind of, I can't remember if it was like 1,000 euros or so that we could spend on traveling to different parts of the country to meet with the electorate. And I used up that money to travel around in Sweden and meet with people in different places and talk to them about their kind of like vision for information policy. And so that was very rewarding. No, I traveled by train. I don't have a driver's license. I remember that I wanted to go up north in Sweden because I've never been like really far up north, and I wanted to go really far up north. So I thought, well, I have this opportunity now to kind of, I have this like small traveling budget. Why not just go like far up north and see what happens with that? So I wrote to some of the local pirates, like local activists and party members we had there, and said that I would really like to visit Luleå. Can you organize an excuse for me to go to Luleå? And they said, sure, it's no problem. And then they organized an excuse for me to go to Luleå. I got to go there, and it was super, super cool. It's like one of the most beautiful places, I think, in the world. It's super silent there. So I did that. But I went there alone, like I was alone on the plane, because we didn't really have a big campaign budget. So it's not like. And also, the more people you are, the more difficult it is to organize things. Like if you're going to go to a place more than 2 people, maybe 3 people, you have to start organizing things like youth hostels. As it was now, I did also in Sweden during the election campaign couchsurfing. So there's a lot of preconceptions about what a political candidate is, though, isn't there? What's a political candidate supposed to be like? I hear often that I don't fulfill the expectations of a political candidate, but I hear very few people who actually say what a political candidate is supposed to be. They have blue carpets on the floor, there's many offices, they have elevators that often are too crowded, and that when they are too crowded and overloaded get stuck. Sometimes it's actually more safe taking the stairs. There's a very nice kind of bar that has the nickname the Mickey Mouse Bar, because it used to have very colorful chairs. Now it doesn't have colorful chairs anymore. It has brown chairs. But the name remains. There have been no copyright infringement claims. So, well, when you're a European, like, when you're a parliamentarian or when you're a democratic representative, I think it's important to dress well, but also, I'm not in the European Parliament to be a suit or to be a bureaucrat. I'm there to be a representative of my electorate. And I don't think that my electorate necessarily wants me to wear dress suits.
So I think do it?
I can't really see how that would benefit me, actually, or like why that would be. I don't like them, they're not very comfortable. I can't walk in high heels, for instance, so it doesn't really make sense for me to do this. No, I mean, I have this vision of myself, maybe not dressing entirely in like hoodies anymore, and definitely not like, I will try not to do like this, because this looks a bit like asocial, right? This looks a bit asocial, so maybe not hoodies, and maybe kind of like some type of, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'm actually not very much looking forward to dealing with all of this, because I have a feeling that it's going to be lots of papers that need to be kind of signed here and there, and I realize that it's like anti-corruption measures, that it's important that you have a rigorous framework to make sure that public money is being used in as best way possible, and that it's not just wasted kind of or used on irrelevant things, that European citizens get to pay for making European policy good, not for making somebody's life luxurious. But I'm not really looking forward to managing the bureaucratical details. I'm not sure that copies is a very useful way of thinking about culture or information at all anymore. I don't think it makes sense anymore defining a monetary value of culture or pieces of information according to the extent to which something has been replicated. From an economical perspective, copyright is completely useless right now. We need to think in society about how to create systems that aren't dependent on copyright for kind of remuneration or incentivization of culture. In an information society, like in the information age, where information is one of the most important means of distribution of power and one of the most important means of expressing ourselves and of achieving means of expressing ourselves, we need to have the autonomy to control our own information output and our own information input. And also, in some cases, the autonomy to control kind of what happens with the output after it's out. What we would refer to as the right to be forgotten. And this is something, like the right to be forgotten is basically when you have the right to make sure that your data disappears from somewhere, that even if you've had data somewhere, you have the right to have it removed. Many people inside the European Parliament are actually quite happy that there's somebody there who is kind of like into technology policy issues and that focuses on this specifically, and that there's been previously kind of a lack of this targeted action around, say, internet rights, digital rights. I think you could say that we've found that it's actually not. You can have an impact, you can make an impact in the European Union. It's possible. Everyone in Romania is kind of so occupied with kind of creating a better Romania, or kind of like changing Romania, or changing stuff, or building stuff, or whatever. But still, everyone's like talking themselves down. So it's always like nobody's doing anything, nobody cares. Everyone's kind of like disenfranchised and said, this is not true. I haven't met a single person in Romania who actually doesn't have a viewpoint kind of how Romania could be made into a better place. There are many, many places in the world where people don't really know how to make their country or their local constituency or their environment better at all. Romania is not one of those places. I would not call Romania politically lost or politically insensitive or so. On the contrary, this is like basically all change everywhere. All kind of people wanting change everywhere. It's good. Maybe not all changes need to come in the form of revolutions. Also, just the fact that you have kind of a dynamic civil society or people who want to become part of a dynamic civil society can actually be change enough. There's nothing that says that all change in Romania needs to come from the president. You don't need to change a country from the top down. You can also change the country from the bottom up. And I think maybe Romania is going more for the latter approach, right?